when I knock the door and they don't believe I'm the plumber, I might say something funny like, they let girls do this now. Isn't that amazing?
Welcome to Most Likely To, a podcast presented by Donors Choose. If you can see it, you can be it. Our guest today is Judaline Cassidy. She's a first-gen immigrant, history-making plumber, activist, and nonprofit founder. She is a real-life Wonder Woman with a wrench. Judaline has been named a L'Oreal Woman of Worth and CNN Champion for Change, among many other accolades. And on today's episode, Judaline talks about why jobs don't have genders, just how much money you can make as a plumber in the trades, and how empowering it feels to work with tools and a tool belt. On Most Likely To, it's Judaline Cassidy. This episode of Most Likely To is sponsored by KPMG. Okay, let's start at the beginning. You didn't grow up in the U.S., so tell us where you're from and what was your childhood like?
So I grew up in the beautiful Twin Islands of Trinidad and Tobago, and my childhood was rather difficult. I grew up without a mother and father, and I grew up with my great grandmother, and I didn't believe I was important or my life mattered growing up just because of the conditions I was growing up in. And it was beautiful. Trinidad is beautiful, but to know that as a kid, you don't know who your dad is and your mom abandoned you, it plays, with your mind game. So that was my childhood was difficult because of that.
And when you were little, did you have any aspirations, or what did you think you wanted to be when you grew up?
Oh, I knew exactly what I wanted to be when I grew up. When I grew up, I wanted to be a lawyer and Wonder Woman. I wanted to do both things because I can fight for injustice, uh, being a lawyer, and then use the lasso of truth for people to tell the truth so I can get the result I wanted. So that was my dream. I wanted both things, but I also knew because I was growing up poor that I had to succeed. Like I had to do something to succeed.
So, how did you end up choosing plumbing as your career path?
So, like I said, I grew up in Trinidad and Tobago. Our primary school and secondary school education, because we have the British system of education, is free. But when you want to go to the equivalent of college here, it's university, that's not free. And my great grandmother had passed away, so I didn't have the means to attend university. So the trades was the next best free option, this particular school. And I'm very logical in the way that I analyze things. So growing up at my age back then in Trinidad and Tobago, women was steered towards being a secretary, a homemaker, a chef. There was a seamstress and those kind of careers offered at that school for free. But I knew a lot of women would be applying for those, and I wanted to increase my chance of getting into one of the programs. So I figured that electrical and plumbing would be the two that I would try. And in my mind, I said that electrical, you get shock, plumbing, you get wet. And kind of like that's how I chose it. But after that, I actually did fall in love with it, and I'm still madly in love with plumbing.
Yeah, you seem really passionate about plumbing. So, can you tell
Yeah.
us what does a plumber do, and why do you love your job?
Yeah, I really like love being a plumber, and I really want a lot of people and some of the kids that are listening to know that plumbers do a lot more than unclog the toilet bowl. Even though it's the plumber's fault, a lot of the plumbers put in a toilet bowl and a plunger on their trucks and give people the misconception that's what we do. So we do more than that. So when you go to the doctor, plumbers do that. So the doctor cannot do his work with the oxygen lines, the vacuum lines, all of those things without plumbers. You go to the dentist, the plumbers do those lines, those medical lines, plumbers do, the gas station, the kids are listening, school, the science lab, the glass piping and all, we do that. So most plumbers, like we do so much more work and unclogging toilet bowls is like the least thing that we do. So it's such a vast field. And a lot of times people don't know what we do because all the beautiful pipe that I have soldered, brazed, cast iron is behind the wall. And you just get to be end users of the faucet, flushing the toilet, taking the shower, those things. But it's so beautiful, like a work of art and a puzzle all at the same time happening behind the wall and up in the ceilings. It's beautiful.
Wow. Yeah, and I know it's not always obvious, but being someone who's lived in other countries without potable drinking water or
Mm,
plumbing, that's also like that's also why plumbing is so important, right? That there's like critical like life activities that would not happen without plumbing, right?
yeah, so there's a thing that I believe the company American Standard came up with it, and it's really true. Plumbers protect the health of nations. Without plumbers separating potable, which is good drinking water, from non-potable, which is the wastewater, we would all be sick. And we also protect houses with the venting system, the drainage and the vent. So when you flush the toilet or you use the sink, that water needs to be taken away, and that's what we do. If it wasn't, we all would be sick. And if we remember during COVID, one of the main things they told you to do, which really, if a lot of people did do it, and right now, if they continue to, washing your hands. That was one of the most important things they said, right? To wash your hands, right? And not touch your face. So, a plumbing career and the things that we do as plumbers truly has helped society become more civilized because of plumbing.
Hi, this is Liliana from the High School of Law, Advocacy, and Community Justice in New York City. College is so expensive, so I'm starting to think about if it's worth it. Can you be successful without a college degree?
Yes, you can absolutely be successful without a college degree. And I want you to know this. Go into a trade school or union apprenticeship, which is much better. A union apprenticeship is the other college degree. It is equivalent to a college degree. It's 5 years and you have no college debt by the time you finish. And we have found the latest data that the Wall Street Journal did that Gen Z starting to realize that they don't want to be like the Gen X and the baby boomers and the millennials, like having that college debt, that they are really excited about the trades. And we have seen the number tick up, but not fast enough in the trades. And just think about it, uh, that if you do get a career in the trades, you have the ability to have a job anywhere in the world. You can put up a map, take a dot, and toss it, and wait for it to land. And where, except in the sea, I mean, you pretty much can have a job in the skilled trades. That's how important. And even if you, let's say you went to the union apprenticeship, you can open your own business. The new millionaires, another data came out about that, is going to be in the skilled trades, the plumbers, HVAC, electrician. All of this data is coming out because we saw during COVID the importance of the jobs like I do, that thing called Chat GPT, cannot take our jobs. So you could definitely be successful as an entrepreneur, working for the union, and also my really important part, if you do this, you can also help your neighborhood and society.
So let's get down to brass tacks here, and if you don't mind sharing, just how
Yeah,
lucrative is a career in plumbing? Like, is what's
yeah.
an annual salary look like when you're just starting out versus like when you're several years in?
Oh, it's so I can only, the median in the United States is about 55,000. So that's the whole United States. But if you live in large cities like New York, I'll give you New York, for example, the minimum salary for a plumber, $170,000 a year. Wait, that's the low end. That's what somebody like me makes because I take off work a lot to go speak in schools and the nonprofit. Now the high end is close to $320,000. That's people making this money without college debt. Mine is low.
Now I can understand how you get to these new millionaires from the trade industries. Um, I know you used to work in new construction, and so I'm curious what was a typical day like for you in that sort of work?
Oh, new construction is fun, but it could also be difficult. So the fun part, what I loved about new construction is the puzzle. I see plumbing as a puzzle. I have a learning disability. I have dyslexia, and plumbing is really cool for me because it fire up problem solving. I love solving problems. That's how I see everything. You told me you wanted to go to New York in Manhattan. My brain is problem solving it. So I love that about the big construction sites, solving problems, looking at the big puzzle, putting up all of those pipes. And I love working on the big construction because you met people from all different facets of life, like racially, like it's so diverse, and you get to learn things that you never would know, or even try foods that you wouldn't. But some of the difficulties is for an island girl, the elements is really hard when you work in new construction like I did. And if you're not an early starter, new construction may not be for you. So, like in a lot of new construction, some people their days start at 6 a.m. Eastern time, and some people start at 7. The elements, even though it might be difficult, it feels good to be out there.
Sorry,
So
and by
that's
the
what it.
elements, you mean just the weather, the brutal
Sorry,
weather. Yeah,
yes, the weather.
yeah.
Thank you for that. Yes, we say the weather can be a huge deterrent to a lot of people when you get your first winter in New York City or Chicago or one of those Boston. It could be brutal, but I think like everything in life, I always try to look at it like when you go back to your why, it doesn't make it so hard. Like I love plumbing, so those days it's just part of the why.
And you talked about being an island girl and just the difference in weather. I know you immigrated from Trinidad to New York City. My father immigrated from the U.S. or to the U.S. from Taiwan and used to share so
Oh
many
wow.
stories about how challenging it was to come to the U.S. to speak a new language, eat strange foods, encounter different people. Can you tell us
Yeah.
what it was like to immigrate to the U.S. and to start a new life here?
It was hard, and it's still kind of difficult because like when I go home, everybody like you didn't change your accent, right? And I still sound the same. And some of the phrasing of sentences I still, like American or other people won't get it the way that I say certain things, even though it's English. And the food was, oh my gosh, Trinidad, where we're from, we are very boastful. Like we believe we have the best food in the whole world because our country is a cosmopolitan. It's a big mixture of people from all over the world. So our food is very diverse. So that's why we think we have the best food. So when I came here, trying to eat other people's food was really, really hard. Like, because in my mind, Trinidad has the best food. So that was really difficult. And having to learn math in a different way to like how I grew up. And like in America, they still use pounds and stuff like that. I grew up learning centimeters, which is so
Mm-hmm.
much
The
easier.
metric
The
system,
metric
sure.
system, yeah. So that was still hard. Even, like even like learning fractions and all that, it was really hard in plumbing school and trade school learning. And then the way that America teaches their kids their math is not like how I learned. So that was really hard, that transitioning to that. Yeah, that was difficult.
You know, on our podcast, we like to talk about our identities and how it impacts our lives. You're a Black
Hmm.
immigrant woman. Did you ever face any obstacles in your work because of your identity? And can you tell me a story of one of those challenges?
I mean, I would say I continue to, so I want people to know it never stops. Even right this moment, I still go through those things on the job side and even just as a person. But I remember when I was trying to get into the union, the company that hired me, they sent all of us down to the union to try to get into the union. The union instructor took all the guys. He looked at me and he said, go home and do dishes. Being a woman, he told me that. Now, even though he told me that, I don't want anybody to get, that's not the end of the story, but that was difficult. I went in my car, I sat and I cried. But then I remembered what I love, and I love plumbing. I finally got in. And when I got in, that same man, Mr. Kemp, became my biggest fan. He told everybody, because he passed away now, she's one of the best plumbers. So that has happened. I still sometimes get guys will make fun of my height because I'm really small in stature, 4 foot 11
Wow,
and
yeah.
7/8, and
That 7/8 counts. It really does count.
very important.
Yes, very.
But I would use that like it to flip the script and say they don't pay me short money. So because I'm in the union, what I love about the union, I get the same salary as the guy 6'2". So I still experience doubters because I'm a woman. I knock the door for NYCHA. I work for the city of New York now. And when I knock the door, people don't like to open up the door. They don't believe I'm the plumber. And I don't get upset because when I encounter people, usually they'll say they've never met a female plumber. I am the first. So I enjoy that, but that's part of it. And then as a woman, people always want to double check what I say because I'm a woman. So if I say you need to redo your copper pipes, you sure? But I have a way that I've succeeded and I continue to succeed. I turn it into a humorous moment of teachable. So I don't like to get upset. Like I like to use it as a fun thing, like when I knock the door and they don't believe I'm the plumber, I might say something funny like, they let girls do this now. Isn't that amazing? And they get it and they laugh. And so for me, even though it could be a deterrent, I also use it as a door opener into breaking into their mindset of what they believe a plumber should look like and what they think about immigrants. So that's how I've used it.
Hi, this is Emily from High School for Law, Advocacy, and Community Justice in New York City. My question is, did you ever get bullied for being different? How did you overcome that?
I have this way that I come up with mantras for myself. So, like, for instance, when the guy had told me no, I said, today's no is tomorrow's yes, right? So I use that. And when somebody's bullying me or don't, or even don't want to engage with me, because when I started, I used to be the only woman on an entire construction site. Those big high rises you see all over the states you live in, I would be the only woman. And I would look at it like it was their loss. So if you look at it like their loss, that I am this energy that the universe sent down for good, and you missing this opportunity to know this amazing person, like that's your loss. So I never take those on because I felt it was their loss, like not knowing me, because to know me is to love me. I know it sounds funny, but it's true. I really love people and I love being in service with people. And if I bring you in as a friend or I want to help you, so I just never took that energy on as mine. Like it's their loss for not wanting to know me.
Well, it's very clear from just spending this time with you that you have a lot of inner confidence, self-confidence. Where do you think that came from, and how do you, like, if you don't have that
Yeah.
self-confidence, how do you build it for yourself?
Yeah, all you kids are listening. I want you to know something that I wish I knew when I was younger, that you are enough, right? It took me into my 50s of doing work to know that I always have the grit and stuff inside of me. I think that was just something I was born with. But I still, within those moments of you hearing me confident, I still struggle. And I know that deep down inside, if you know that God, the creator, whatever you believe, the universe, he sent you here and you are magic. You are love. And like, if you just embrace that and you feel it, and listen, even on there's some days I have bad days and I doubt that, but I always go back to that. He that is in me is in the world if I continue to stay in that frame of mind. And I do get upset, though I don't want to make it sound like I'm always in a nirvana, but I find a way to get back to the essence of who I am. And once you know and you love yourself, nobody can take that away. And know, like my grandmother always told me that no, even though we were poor, my great grandmother told me that we are all equal. So I just grew up knowing that even if I'm poor and I was a housekeeper before I got back into plumbing in the US, I never felt less than anybody ever. Even now, I walk into every room holding my head high just because I'm a human being. Yeah, just because of
Was
that.
there any like did you have any like wins along the way that made you like were proof points that said, okay, I am good at this. I am the best plumber. I am like, can you tell us about
Yeah,
any of those wins that you had?
the wins is like I finished the apprenticeship. A lot of people don't do that. Like when you start the plumbing apprenticeship, my class might have like 35 guys, and by the time the 5 years is coming to the end, there was like 10 of us or 15 of us, because people drop out because of the weather and the studying, the math and stuff like that. That was a win. Some of the things that I've win, and it took me a moment to embrace those things. Like about a couple years ago, my hands were cast in an exhibit right next to Ruth Gator Ginsburg. And it brought tears to my eyes. This island girl who grew up poor, no self-confidence, dyslexia, all the things that people might think that are no mother or father might be. Like I achieved that. I met the vice president, the then vice president, Kamala Harris. Her husband came to our camp. And like there's just so many things. I've had wins, and I have never took the moment to sit and enjoy that until late last year. I just keep on doing it because I think I wasn't worthy deep in a little bit of a way. Also, immigrant, most immigrants, we are raised to be very humble. So it's hard for you to stay, oh, I have a book and I was on TV, or you know what I mean? Like there's so many wins that I've had. And even with tools and tiaras, like starting a nonprofit with from zero to what it is now, I have to, like a month ago, sit and say to myself, I did that. So there's a lot of them. It's just that I want to be better moving forward, to sit in those and don't look at it as being prideful, but just like celebrating me. Like,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
if that makes sense. Like,
Yes,
yeah,
it does make sense, and I love it. Why should students and specifically women consider a career in plumbing?
I would say career in plumbing for one of the reasons that it's could be a game changer depending on uh whether or not you want to go to college now. And I love plumbing because you are going to get paid the same. This is the one area, like women, we know the data that black women get a certain percentage. It just doesn't come to my head right now. Women in general get less than men dollars, right? This is the only in 70 cents, and then Asian women and black, everyone has, the numbers went out of my head right now because I'm a little bit tired, but I usually have it there. But this is the one industry, the union part of it, not the non-union. I can only speak about the union, that you get the same salary as a man. And that's one of the, and you will get a skill. Once you get empowered with tools, the shy introvert girl that I am, when I do employment, that girl goes out the window and the superhero me comes in. And that's one of the reasons I think you should do it. Like the money is great. The ability to build your self-esteem and confidence is unshakable when you get to master tools. And nobody could ever take that away from you. So that's why I think you should really think about it.
Like, makes me want to pick up some tools right now, actually.
And
Um,
it does. A
it,
lot of women pick it up, and I do a workshop for women, and the minute most people put on the tool belt, it just shifts your energy,
yeah,
totally shifts it. Yeah.
I can see that. Okay, we're going to do a quick lightning round. I'm going to
Okay.
say a phrase, and you can just tell me the first thing that comes to mind. So, actually, speaking of tools, the question is favorite tool.
My favorite tool is it's called the company, it's called a pliers, but in the trade term, we say channel locks, right? So it's a baby channel locks. It's very small. You could put it in your back pocket and it come in handy for everything besides your trades. It's just really cool. It's a 420 or something pair of channel locks
It's
from
like
the Channel
the
Locks
Swiss
company.
Swiss Army knife of plumbing
Yeah,
tools.
similar to
Yeah.
that. Wow. Yeah, it's so cute. It's like adorably cute. It's small, so it fits nicely in your pocket every day, and you can always have it on you.
Best compliment you've ever received.
People love my work. I love that I do great work. I love that compliment.
Best hype song to work to. Do you work with music? I don't even know.
Oh yeah, I work with music. They call me the singing plumber. I listen to reggae music and rock and roll. So I can't choose because I love music. I listen to everything. If I was to be on an island and the one thing you would not be able to live without, I would say music. I love music.
Favorite life hack.
I would say a life hack is I feel like every day you get up, you should make up your bed. I love making your bed. It sets the tone for me for the day. So that's one of my hacks.
I try to tell my kids that. It doesn't work.
It really does.
I'm just going to wrap up with a few questions. So, Judaline, if a student was interested in the skill trades, what are one or two things that she could do during her school years to get started?
Well, she can reach out to me at toolsandtiaras.org. I love when people call me and ask me about it. I definitely could, but depending on where you live, you can look up the National Building Trades. And within that, it has like all the different careers within the skilled trades, their unions. And you can look up women in construction. And there's tons of programs all over the country that nonprofits have to give women and girls entry into the construction trades. So there's ways to get in to the construction trades.
Amazing. So you don't have to go to like a CTE school to actually go into the trades.
No, a lot of, and what I love about the trades is some people go to college. We have people who have went to college. I'm on my executive board of my union, and every couple of months we have new students, new people come in. And the two biggest groups that we see is people who have actually went to college, spent all that money, and then decided to come to the union. So, and then we have a group of people who tried everything in life and they started late in life. So there's many pathways to getting into the trades. It's just that I'm telling everybody, all you listening, I started a nonprofit on Google. Seriously, Google everything and you'll get the answers.
And last question, if you could go back in time and speak to your younger self and give her a little career advice, what would you say to little Judaline in the past?
I would say to Judaline in the past, and I had to do this. I put her on my phone so I can love her. I would go back and tell her that she is loved, she's enough, and girl, wait till you see all the things you're going to accomplish because she had no idea. I would just tell her that she is enough and it's okay if you struggle with math. You actually gonna choose a career that is filled with with mathematics, but you will be all right. And I would just tell her that. But most of all, I would tell her those two things. She is loved and she's enough.
That was feminist plumber Judaline Cassidy. Hey, thanks so much for listening. Make sure to click the follow button on your podcast app so you never miss a new episode. We are at donorschoose.org/podcast. Tag us in your posts about the show. This show is about exploring the journeys of the people you care about. So let us know who you're interested in hearing from by sending in your requests at podcasts@donorschoose.org or DM us on Instagram.